Hello and welcome to this short video on how to use Jamf Parent. Now, once you have replied to the Google form saying that you wish to have Jamf Parent and you filled it in all correctly, and once we have sent the confirmation email saying that you can now access and download the app, you end up with this app that you can see on the screen, which is called Jamf Parent. And then once you go inside, this will appear. Okay, there'll be locations, which we'll talk about later. Then if you scroll down, you'll see your child. You click on it, and immediately there are some very interesting aspects which will be of interest to you. Now, the easiest thing to do is this. Now, if you are having problems with your child and the use of technology at home, what you can now do is you can start to restrict device functionality, which is the second option in blue that you can see on the screen. So if you click on restrict device functionality, here you can start to get rid of applications straight away. For example, with the camera, if I get rid of the green option, as you can see in a minute, there we go, the camera has disappeared. Another interesting aspect here would be Safari. So for example, if they're using Safari too much at home, you can immediately remove it in a remote way from your mobile phone without having to touch your child's iPad. You could also get rid of mail, but as the children have got Gmail, that doesn't really help. Now, the rest of these aren't really important. So you've got messages, FaceTime, phone, etc. They can't access anyway. And then iTunes, well, they can't download anything. iBooks, well, that's useful. And then news, podcasts, and game centers, again, they can't actually download anything, so that isn't important for us. And then to restore the use of Mail, Safari, and Camera, all you do is you just click on it, and as you can see, everything appears once again on the iPad. So we've already shown you two interesting aspects there, which is the restricting of the camera and restricting of Safari. Now, another aspect which could be of interest for you would be Enable App Lock, which is the first option in blue on that screen. Now, if we come here, you can see you can basically block an app on your child's iPad for a period of time. For example, if we choose 10 minutes or 15 minutes, and then, for example, they say that they need for their homework, they need to do some reading, for example, in books, you just click on it, and then once you've got it ready, you just press done. Now here, as you can see, it just takes a little bit of time, but eventually you will see that the books application opens up. Now, if I'm a child and I double click, I cannot remove it. If I try and switch off my iPad and then switch it back on, it's still there. So what this does is it blocks the app there. So you can just restrict them to one app. And as you can see for the screen, it gives you the timer there. Now, as I want to finish early, what I'm going to do is instead of waiting for the time to run out, I'm going to click Disable App Lock. And in a short period of time, what will happen is that when I double click out, I should be able to leave the app. There we go, as it's just worked there. So fantastic. However, that's not the only thing you can have here. For example, if the child says they need two apps. Now, this is really interesting, but I want you to look, please, very carefully at the screen. As you can see, I've only got one screen. I've got everything organized. And what I now do is this. I say, right, what two apps do you need for your homework? They press Enable App. You press Enable App Lock for 30 minutes for their homework. They need, for example, Classroom, and they need Books. You press Done, and look what happens to the screen. There we go. Everything disappears apart from Settings, Books, and Classroom. Now, that's a really interesting way of restricting their iPad. For example, if they are abusing their iPad after a certain time, you could just have it like this. And that means that they would only be able to access what you want them to do. For example, so if they're abusing another application like YouTube, you can just restrict it to certain applications, and that's it. Okay. And again, if you want to get rid of that, you just press Disable App Lock. Now everything disappears, but as you can see, look what's happened now. It was beautifully organized before, but now the iPad throws them out of their folder or out of their app organization. Now, please don't worry about that. We do it all the time at school, so it's really not a problem for them. Okay, so please do not let your children claim that that's going to be annoying, because they are used to it. Now, what else do we have in this app? Well, to be quite honest, if I were a parent using an iPad with my child, I would be quite happy with those two options which I've shown you, which are restrict device functionality and enable app lock. You can, however, if we leave this, we could go to the top here, and in locations, you can create different locations. For example, one location at school and one location at home. And once you've configured these locations, when you come in here, you can create device rules based on location and only permitting certain types of apps in those locations. And then at the end, we've got device, which shows you how much storage is being used up, how much battery is there. And then now with location history and the map, sometimes it might be a bit out because Apple does protect location device because these are basically supervised iPads. But as you could see, you could then see location history, etc. But as we stated at the beginning, what we're going to do is we concentrated today on enable app lock and restrict device functionality. And for more information on locations and on device rules and device, you may read the webpage that we've provided for you. Although it's in Spanish, there you could always ask for help at school, and we'll also do our best to try and find a version in English for you, okay? Well, I hope that was useful, and hopefully you won't need everything that I've shown you, because hopefully your children will be as good as gold. But if you do need it, now you've got a little bit more power with your mobile phones to be able to control your child's iPad. Thanks very much for listening. Goodbye.